Good morning, everybody. We're here with Marlot, Marlot, I cannot speak y'all this morning. McMichael,
We're very imperfect over
we're
here
very
today.
imperfect.
Kind of a tongue twister.
We just had a wonderful mindfulness exercise, and now I've got to get my head back in the game. I'm going to get out of my head and see you, but we're so excited to have you here today. Marlot is the Vice President of the Southern Zone of the Sales and Marketing Leader of Pure Group Insurance. You have a really interesting story to tell with that, which we're excited about you sharing. We love to, the point of these launch days is to have women on to share their stories so that everybody can open their minds to different opportunities out there, but then also have an opportunity to hear different women's trajectories through their careers. So as we just were talking with Sarah, she had many different roles along the way, and it kind of created who she is now. And then some of us start in one industry and are able to walk through each individual step, but we all have our different trajectories, and it's just great to hear, to help center us as to where our path is. So thank you for coming today and for sharing your story. We're really excited to have you.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to be here. It's funny when you bring up where you started and now where you are, and I have to tell you a funny story. So I got married 26 years ago, and I graduated from the University of South Carolina, and I thought I wanted to be in the hotel restaurant business. So I was like, this is my path. This is what I'm going to do. So I moved to this small town called Beaufort, South Carolina. And after a couple months, my husband was like, this isn't going to work. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're working nights and weekends, and I'm working during the day. And I said, well, you think you could have told me that before I kind of went into this career that we're talking about? So long story short, I ended up getting into the insurance business. And I'll also share with your viewers that I graduated from college and my starting salary was $7 an hour. And that was big time. Yeah. So $7 an hour, and I started working for this wonderful woman called Mary Jack Jones. It was the family agency. Everybody in the family worked there, and I was the only family non-member. And guys, that was it. I found my passion. I got into insurance, and lo and behold, that's where I've been for the last 26 years. But what really changed my life 12 years ago is I had a gentleman by the name of Dennis Kerwin who lives in Charleston, who's been in the insurance business for a long time. And he gave me the opportunity to come and work for Pure. And I know there's probably some people out there who say, gosh, I want to start my own company. What does it feel like? What if I got up one day and said, I'm going to quit my job or I'm going to start something else? What does that feel like? And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a part of something. I wanted to be in on the ground. I wanted to be right there with everybody else. And this was my opportunity with Pure. And we started from nothing. We are now in all states except for Idaho, and it has been an amazing story just because we didn't know what we were going to build. We didn't know where we were going to go. And we have literally bricks and mortar, and we're now almost over 900 employees strong. And it's been great.
That is amazing. So tell us what that's like. Okay, so you started with just the two of you or a small group of people. And so talk about building. How long ago was that? Did you say?
Let's see. I've been with the company for 12 years. So about 15 years ago, Pure launched Pure Insurance. So our founder.
It's not that long.
No. And so when you look back over 15 years and see that we've gone from being in just one state to now being across the country and now having 900 employees, it's an amazing story.
So tell us everything from the beginning. The first year you're thinking,
the first year, we were only in Florida and we launched the state of South Carolina. And what that meant was that basically finding agents or brokers within South Carolina who would represent us. And it was kind of hard because if you think about us, nobody knew who we were. Nobody knew what we did. And they were like, okay, wait a minute. You want us to represent a company that doesn't have a track record, that's kind of building from scratch, right? So it was in those first early days where it was finding people to believe in what we wanted to do. And that was to really start an insurance company that was really about our members. And our members are what we call insured. So you guys buy insurance, right? So if you buy insurance from Pure, you're actually a member, and it's member owned. So that's where we started. And it was finding people who believed in what we wanted to do and to buy our product. And that's kind of where we started.
Mhm.
Okay, so you start off, you start marketing, you've already in Florida, you start marketing to South Carolina. And then when did you see it like shift from like, okay, this is actually going to work? What was that like?
Gosh, I think that's when we actually launched Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, right? So it's like when you think about building an insurance company or a company in general, you got to start somewhere, right? And so we wanted to start to build our base and our foundation. And once we really entered New York and New Jersey and Connecticut, that's when it really started to take off.
Yeah.
And back when we began, guys, there were 4 major competitors in the high net worth space. So it was a space that was very well, with a lot of insurance companies that have been there for a long period of time, with a long history, with a track record. And so for us, it was like, okay, how do we get people to believe in what we wanted to do?
Yeah.
And that's when it really started to take off. But I think also what helped us is finding people like myself who really wanted to be a part of something, right? Like we came to work every day and we're like, we're gonna do this, like this is what it's about. And it didn't matter what hour of day, it didn't matter who we had to talk to. It's like telling our story to our brands, and that's kind of how it went.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Lauren and I see that a little bit about like building the wealth at it. I mean, you kind of have to just get in there and say each day, like,
We're going to do it.
what are we going to do here? But again, we want to be a part of something and we feel passionate about what we're doing, like the product that we're selling, as I can tell you do too,
Yeah.
Okay, so it starts to take off, and I'm assuming y'all are starting to grow your team as well. I know that's a hard thing to do sometimes as your business grows. What was that? Were you a part of that?
Like, I was, and I think one of the great things, there's many great things about Pure, but one is culture, right? And we wanted to make sure that, I don't know if you've heard this, but there's kind of one of these things that says, hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
And so while we needed employees to help us build what we wanted to build, we wanted to build a culture that people were proud of. We wanted to find people that really wanted to come to work every day and they were excited about what they were going to do. And the fact that we could hire people right out of college who may not have wanted to go into insurance and said, maybe I should think about this path. And so that's what's been so fun. And I think you guys know with Mary Loyal, and that's how she and I kind of came together at Pure. I mean, she didn't really know what she wanted to do. And she started at kind of a receptionist role and ended up literally creating an incredible career at Pure. And that was just by like, hey, throw me in, coach. Like, I don't know what I don't know, but if you give me the building blocks, then I can do it. And that's kind of how we started building our employee base. And it's really exciting.
Yeah. You know what I love about that is I think a lot of times what we read or what we hear is that entrepreneurship, like you have to kind of blaze that trail and create that journey for yourself. And to some degree with what you said, that's true, but you can do it within something larger than yourself too. So like it sounds like Pure was able to create a culture where you could be an entrepreneur within a larger entrepreneurial culture. Is that sort of what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. And I think what we all believe in is some of us, whether you're coming straight out of college or coming from another career, if you can get into a company that gives you the security, and what I mean by security is puts you in a role that you may not be ready for, but give you the tools and the resources and the mentorship to help you, you can go from A to Z very quickly. And what I love about that is a lot of people don't get that opportunity in life because whether it's not the right company or the right role or the right just avenue they choose. And that's what's been great about Pure. I mean, I can look back on so many people that I have hired at Pure, and I'm so excited they have been able to really build a career within a company that was a startup. And there's something to be said for that.
And there's something to be said for just working for somebody who believes in you. I mean, I know with Lauren and I, I changed careers. I was an attorney for 15 years, stayed at home with my children for a few years after losing my husband, and then decided I wanted to change careers at 40. I mean, that's kind of weird. I mean, you don't hear that often, but to like meet with Lauren and her, everybody kept saying, y'all have to meet because you have the same passion and like heart for what you want to do. But then to allow for her to say to me, yeah, I know you have all the tools, but I'm going to mentor you and I'm going to help you do this. That is the greatest gift that we can give to anybody. I mean, it's something that I'll forever like be so grateful for, because it has allowed me to like shift careers, and not just shift careers and like be miserable and like scared. It's like, it's been fun. I mean, we've worked together. We realize that we each bring something different to the table, but I love what you're saying, because I think that's so important for us, with women or men employees. It doesn't even matter across the board. It's just like allow it, like seeing the potential in people and then helping them develop. It's a gift.
Absolutely. And we have something every year we do. It's called the Pure Leadership Forum. And we hold it every year in March, and it's usually in a different city. And a couple years ago, we had it in Vegas, and one of the speakers, and I'm sure you may have heard of Simon Sinek. And this is when he first started, and he got up on the stage and he talked about people understanding what their why is. Like every single day when you woke up, like, did you know why you got out of bed? And were you excited, right? And I kind of was sitting in the room and I was like, God, I feel kind of lucky, because I feel like there's a lot of people that wake up every day and they go, I know my wife's supposed to be an attorney. I don't really want to be an attorney anymore, but that's kind of what I went to school with, so I think I should stick with it. And I think Pure really gives you that empowerment to feel every day when you wake up that you're giving back to something, and gives you a why and wants you to, you're happy about what you're doing. So
I love what you said, because especially I think with women, we have so many arrows in our quiver that allow our skill sets to be transferable beyond what we went to school for. So, often you think, oh, I went to school to be a nurse, so I have to be a nurse. Well, if that doesn't work at some point in your career, I mean, Emily and I are so lucky, because we have worked with so many interesting women over our years of just financial planning and everything that we do in the community. And it's never too late for a do-over. We've seen, women that were psychologists that turned into attorneys in their 40s because they, got a divorce and realized, oh my gosh, my passion is helping other women through it. It's just never too late. This is my friend who's a federal judge. She said, it's never too late for a do-over. And I think that that's so true with women. I mean, we can do anything. If you've raised any children, you know that there are lots of skills that come with that you may not have realized that you even had. So anyway, there's just a lot there. Okay, so then you're growing this thing, it's getting bigger, it's getting stronger. Pure, because I hold Pure Insurance. I love it. I think it's a great company and it is special. And then if someone asks you, I'm sure along the way, a lot of people ask you to buy it. So how did you decide we're ready? I mean, you can get pretty technical, because we have a lot of women that I see on this call that have also sold businesses themselves. So I think people want to know, you're building this thing, you're getting offers, when to take private equity. Maybe the better question would be, did you take private equity money before like what were the steps y'all went through when you needed infusions of capital along the way?
Yeah, so we definitely had a very strong partner from the very beginning. And that partner stayed with us till the end. It was a group called Stone Point Capital. And they really, really believed in us. And it was great to have them. But I would say to all the listeners on the phone, when thinking about selling your business, it's real important when you build something that you really believe in and you want to sell it and you're going to stay on, right? Or even if you're not going to stay on, you want to make sure that the people who are investing in your business and buying it what is that going to be like after you're gone? Or what is that going to be like when you're still there? And our founders, Ross Buckmiller, Jeff Karashak, and Martin Hartley, they really believed that Tokyo Marine was that company for us. We had a lot of the same beliefs. The culture was really strong. And this is what I would tell all of you. They said, you know what, don't change anything. We want you to stay exactly who you are. And that says a lot. I mean, I think y'all know that sometimes when companies are bought and sold, you wake up the next day and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the same place.
Right.
These are not the people that I thought I was working for. And I would say that Tokyo Marine has been amazing, that it has allowed us to continue what we started. And every single day, it just allows us to feel like we're still in the same place we were prior to the sell. And that's because our culture has stayed intact and we have the same beliefs. And so it's just been great. But what you don't want to do is spend all your time, effort, and energy building something you're so proud of, and then turning it over, and then all of a sudden you see it change and maybe not make it, or just takes on a different, view than you had.
Yeah. So how do you think you can protect from that?
I think you got to do your due diligence. I think you got to ask all the right questions. And I think you got to be in it for more than the financial gain.
Yeah.
And listen, I know that's hard, right? Like that's not everybody's end result. Like a lot of people may have to do something for the financial gain, but if you can hold on and you can find the right fit, it will be something that will be a reward far more than the financial gain that you will ever get, for sure.
I think that brings up a good point, and I think being patient is so important in all of entrepreneurship. It's like finding that right fit. I mean, I feel like I've learned that in spades over the last year, but it's so, you have to be patient for the right fit. And we're also, working on culture and like getting to the point where you feel like really this is exactly who we are. It makes it easier also, like taking the time on the front end to define your culture and what you stand for and who you want to be a part of your team makes it easier to then find that next, essentially team leader.
Yeah, and we also had to think about our members, right? So the members were in the forefront of our mind when changing ownership.
Yeah.
Because they truly are what's the core of our business, and they were the most important.
Yeah. And so tell us, okay, so post sale, so you've decided to take the leap as a team. Everybody feels really good about the partner. And the reason I'm going to ask this is because I've had people that have gone all the way to the finish line, letters were signed, letters of intent, and they realize they're not ready to sell their business. There's like a huge emotional component to selling your business too. I had a guy, I tell this story sometimes. I had a guy who came in, he said, I can sell my business for $25 million. He was a fairly young guy, like 55 years old, which I realize to some of you on the phone might not feel very young, but it really is when you're working with people that are 99, we kind of see everything. So that's a lot of life left to live. And what I realized is, no one had talked to him about the emotional components. All I asked him was one question. I said, that's awesome. What are you going to do? And he kind of looked at me like a dog looking at a clock, he just like didn't know what he was going to do after he sold this business. Right. Now, in your case, it sounds like in your sale, the leadership team has essentially stayed in place. Is that right?
Yeah, they're all still here. And I think what's most exciting is that y'all, we're just getting started. Like we worked so hard to even just get where we are. So to me, it's like, look what we can do now. This is like someone believed in us to take a leap and to get into Pure. And now let's just take that excitement and fuel and just keep on going. And I know this sounds kind of silly, but we didn't skip a beat. We got up the next day and we put our pants back on and we were like, let's go to work. So, and that's just kind of how it's been.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, what is I mean, tell us what you're thinking. I mean, don't give us any secrets unless you want to, but what is next for Pure?
Listen, I think anybody out there who starts a business and who really wants to grow like we do, we want to double our business in 3 years. And there's a lot of people out there that still don't know who we are.
Yeah.
And, that means that we've got a lot more work to do. And, with our focus being high net worth families and the things that they love and ensuring them and taking care of them, as you guys probably know from watching the news, there's a lot more people that are entering the high net worth space due to the economy. And there's just a lot of opportunity out there for us. And we're just excited about what's next. And that means building our brand, whether it's through digital marketing, whether that's through our wonderful brokers that we have across the country, and really hiring more people to work within our organization and build what it is we know that we can do down the road. So I think it's almost like we're just beginning again as well. So
Okay, for those of the younger people on the call who are maybe maybe they've gotten their first job out of college, or they've been in their first job for 5 years and feel like, I think I want to do something more, or this, lifestyle doesn't fit with, what I see, long term. And so they want to be somebody that stands out. So I know you talked about like recruiting these people and then like really pouring into them and building them up. What are some of the things that you look for in like a new hire?
Gosh, I think more than what's on the paper, right? Like, I don't know, guys. I mean, I grew up, and when you went to an interview, it was always about what was on your resume. It's all about where you went to school and kind of where you internship. And it was all about what was on the paper. There's so much more to all of us than that. And I think, one of the things that we do is we really want to understand the individual. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? Where do you want to go? What is it that you want to do? And I think that's what's helped us because, for instance, like if you're not really happy in a career and you come to Pure, it doesn't matter what age you're in, but you have the wherewithal, you have the energy, you have the passion to do something else, and you realize that we're going to give you the culture where even if you fail, that's okay. Yeah. That's kind of what we look for. And I think, sometimes people don't get an interview because of what is on that piece of paper. And I think that sometimes can be a mistake.
Yeah. I totally agree. In building Somerset, which is our private wealth management practice, I feel exactly the same. And like, I want people to fail here, because failure is very temporary. And if you try, that's much more highly rewarded than if you, don't try. I don't know. I mean, I think it's for me, I want to see what people can do, and like feels the same way.
Yeah, like it builds some grit too. Because you watch somebody fail and then bring themselves back up out of it and say, I'm going to try again, and maybe it even happens again. But you watch that in developing character and perseverance, and especially if you're in a marketing or sales position, that you have to develop that. You have to develop that to be okay with, okay, well, that didn't work, so let's try again. And it's really neat to see, because I think that, especially like during COVID, I know we've had a lot of interns, and they're all kind of scrambling to get these internships so that they have something on their resume for this weird, like, dark period where everything's been so strange. But just to be able to have the opportunity to work with them and to see the ones that like show up, that have just like more of that passion, that willingness to try something and fail and try again. It makes you realize, like, how can I interview better so that I pick up on that.
Yeah, and I think one of the most special things for me is Pure has given me the ability to do many things over the last 12 years and put me in positions that it was probably a stretch, but knew that if I made a mistake, they were going to be there. If it was something that I wasn't ready for, they were going to give me the tools to get ready for. And I look back on the last 12 years of my life and think, gosh, what an amazing experience. I've been able to mentor people, but I've also been able to work underneath people and women who are just as strong, just, and they really want to do something. And it's great to see someone start at an entry level position and turn around within a couple of years and be in, a very prominent role.
Yeah.
And you can't get that everywhere, guys. You just can't. And so when I look back, I mean, that's what's been so special, because it's kind of one of those things where I did my internship at Walt Disney World, and one of the things I always told you is it's never not your job. It's always like whatever you need to do to get it done, do. And that's what I've done. And every time the phone rang and said, "Well, we want you to go do this," I said, "Absolutely, I'll try." So.
Right. That's awesome. Well, we really, the reason we set this up this way is because women learn new things, modern things together better. So we are so appreciative that you said yes to the Wealth Edit, but we always ask people, why did you say yes to today? Thank you.
Well, listen, I said yes, number one, because I just believe that the more we women can have avenues to tell our story, to learn from each other and to grow and sometimes feel vulnerable, then that's why I said yes. So I appreciate it. And I hope the rest of the day, I'm sure will go fabulous.
Well, thank you so much. We can't wait to talk to you again.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.